Hello everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to explore how to write balanced essays. The title of our presentation is Balanced Essays, A Guide to Writing, and the subtitle is Seeing Both Sides, Advantages and Disadvantages. We'll be discussing how to consider different perspectives and effectively present both the pros and cons of a topic. Over the next few slides, I'll guide you through the key steps and tips to help you craft well-rounded and persuasive essays. Let's get started. Understanding everything is really the foundation of being persuasive. When you truly grasp the full picture, your arguments become stronger and more convincing. It shows that you think deeply about the topic, which is essential for critical thinking. This ability to analyze and understand deeply not only makes your points clearer, but also helps you connect better with your audience. So, why does this matter? Because in any discussion or debate, being well-informed and thoughtful makes you more credible and persuasive. It's about building a solid case that's hard to ignore. So, as we look at this slide, I want to highlight that our work truly offers opportunities, not just for growth, but for making a real difference. It's about helping people, whether that's our customers, our colleagues, or the community at large. When we focus on positive impact, we're not only improving lives, but also driving progress within our organization. You'll notice the words improves and makes better. These are core to our mission. It's about continuously enhancing what we do, whether it's our products, services, or processes. And what's really important here is the idea of advantages. These are the benefits that come from making things better. It's about creating value, fostering innovation, and ultimately making a lasting positive change. All of these points connect back to our overall goal, making things better, not just for today, but for the future. That's the true advantage of what we're striving for. So let's take a look at this question. Which verb means to make something greater? Is it A, hinder, B, boost, or C, stifle? Well, the correct answer is B, boost. To boost something means to increase or improve it, which ties directly into the idea of making something greater. Now, on this slide, we're focusing on words that are powerful in terms of describing advantages or positive actions. Words like enhance, encourage, boost, offer, give, allow, and enable all serve as power verbs for highlighting benefits. Each of these words helps us communicate growth, support, and positive change. For example, to enhance something means to improve it, to encourage means to support or motivate, and to enable means to make it possible for someone to do something. Using these verbs effectively can really strengthen our message, especially when we're talking about advantages or benefits. They help convey a sense of progress and opportunity, which is essential when presenting ideas that aim to motivate or inspire action. And, of course, connecting these key verbs to the overall theme of success and growth makes our message more compelling and actionable. Let's take a closer look at some of the disadvantages. When certain actions or policies are in place, they can actually deprive people of opportunities. This means individuals might miss out on chances they deserve or need to improve their lives. Additionally, these issues can hamper people's progress, making it harder for them to succeed or reach their potential. The negative effects of these disadvantages can be quite significant, often creating a ripple effect that worsens the situation. Instead of helping, they tend to make things worse, compounding the original problem. Essentially, these disadvantages can exacerbate existing issues, making solutions even more difficult to achieve. Overall, what we're seeing is that these disadvantages tend to make things worse rather than better. They limit chances, hinder progress, and intensify problems. So it's crucial to understand and address these issues to create more positive outcomes. So let's consider this question. If something stifles creativity, is that an advantage or a disadvantage? It's a really interesting point to explore. When we talk about stifling, we're referring to something that suppresses or limits creative thinking. Now, on this slide, I've included some keywords like sours, triggers, stifles, restricts, limits, obstructs, hampers, and prevents. These words are powerful because they all point to the idea of holding back or impeding creativity. It's important to understand that these words are often used as power verbs when we discuss disadvantages. They help us clearly communicate what might be going wrong or what could negatively impact a situation. For example, if a rule or environment restricts or obstructs creative efforts, that can be seen as a disadvantage because it limits potential. But here's the key question. Could there be any advantage to these restrictions? Sometimes, a certain level of constraint can actually foster focus or encourage different ways of thinking. However, generally speaking, when we talk about stifling creativity, we're mainly addressing how it tends to hinder innovation and problem solving. So, in summary, these words are essential for describing negative impacts on creativity. When we choose our language carefully, using strong verbs like hampers or prevents, we make it clear that these are disadvantages. And understanding this helps us better analyze situations and find ways to remove barriers to creativity, which is crucial in many contexts. When we look at how our initiatives can make a real difference, there are several key effects to consider. First, providing jobs is crucial because it not only supports individuals and families, but also strengthens our communities and economy. Creating peace is another vital outcome. When people have stable livelihoods and opportunities, tensions often decrease, leading to more harmonious societies. Benefiting others, whether through programs or policies, helps build trust and resilience among those we serve. A positive influence extends beyond immediate results. It inspires broader change and encourages others to get involved. Enhancing our environment, skills, or systems makes everything more effective and sustainable in the long run. And finally, improving overall well-being, whether through economic, social, or environmental means, creates a ripple effect of positive impact. All these points connect back to our overarching goal, making a meaningful, lasting difference that uplifts communities and fosters a better future for everyone. Let's talk about triggers, specifically those related to anxiety. When certain triggers are activated, they can lead to a series of reactions that amplify the problem. These triggers often lead to or result in negative outcomes, which we refer to as disadvantages. It's important to understand that these disadvantages can significantly affect or impact a person's well-being, daily functioning, or relationships. When these impacts are left unchecked, they can actually exacerbate, or make worse, the original situation. In essence, what we're seeing here is a cycle where triggers set off a chain reaction that results in a negative impact, which then feeds back into the problem, making it even more challenging to manage. Recognizing these triggers and understanding their consequences is crucial for breaking this cycle and mitigating the overall negative impact. When we look at these words, ERADICTES, REVRSES, accelerates, EMPOWERS, liberates, maintains, SUSTNS, BULDS, REVULUTIONIZES, transforms, alters, and CHNGS, we're essentially exploring the many ways that complex actions can impact our world. Each term highlights a different kind of influence, some destructive, some constructive, some rapid, others gradual. For example, ERADICATES and REVERSES suggest powerful actions that can eliminate problems or undo damage, which is crucial when we're talking about solving big challenges. On the other hand, words like ACCLERATES and BUILDS point to positive momentum, speeding up progress and creating something new from the ground up. Then there are words like EMPOWERS and liberates, which are about enabling people and giving them the freedom to innovate and thrive. MAINTAINS and sustains remind us of the importance of stability and long-term commitment, ensuring that progress is not lost but preserved over time. Revolutionizes and transforms speak to fundamental changes, shifting paradigms and redefining how we see and approach the world. Alters and changes are broader, more flexible terms that encompass all kinds of modifications, big or small. All these actions, whether changing the world in a subtle way or making a radical leap, highlight the power we have to shape our environment and society. They remind us that the actions we choose, big or small, can truly transform the world around us. All right, so let's look at this slide. The question here is, what is a synonym for eradicate? Now you'll see the options: maintain, eliminate, and sustain. The correct answer is eliminate. This is a good opportunity to understand how different words can have similar meanings, but with slight nuances. As we go through this slide, notice that the word eradicate means to completely eliminate something, like erasing a problem entirely. It's a strong, definitive term. Now, compare that to maintain or sustain, which suggest keeping something as it is, not getting rid of it. This helps us see how choosing the right word can really sharpen our communication. Especially when we're trying to sound more precise or advanced, understanding these synonyms and their nuances allows us to be clearer and more effective. Throughout the rest of the slide, you'll see related words that help expand our vocabulary, like revolutionize, which means to change completely, or stifle, meaning to prevent growth. Recognizing these synonyms and their subtle differences enhances our language skills, making us sound smarter and more confident. All right, now we come to the heart of the matter, debate. On this slide, we're looking at the classic advantages versus disadvantages. This is really the core of any ethical discussion or decision-making process. You see, at the end of the day, the big question is, does the end justify the means? That's what we need to consider. Are the positive outcomes worth the potentially questionable methods used to achieve them? It's important to weigh both sides carefully. Sometimes the benefits seem to outweigh the costs, but other times, the means might undermine our values or cause harm. So, understanding and debating these points helps us make more informed, balanced decisions. Remember, this is where the real challenge lies, finding that balance between achieving goals and maintaining integrity. So, for our final slide, I want you to think about that one new word you learned today that you're excited to use in your next essay. This is a great opportunity to reflect on how expanding your vocabulary can really boost your writing. Remember, practice makes perfect, so the more you use these words, the more natural they'll become. Always strive to be balanced in your writing, mixing strong vocabulary with clear, strong verbs to make your ideas stand out. Think of your essay toolkit as a set of powerful tools that you're ready to put into action. So, I encourage you, go write. Take what you've learned today and start applying it right away.